Hey guys, and welcome to the next lesson here in this series. This is my introduction to Wing Chun series. It's brand spanking new for 2020, brand spanking new for here in Denver, Colorado. And we talked about the ground, the Kimi Ma, getting the ground. If you haven't seen that video, check down below in the description. I'll have links to the previous lessons. But in a previous lesson, we talked about getting the ground, right? Getting the strength from the ground. Then in the next lesson, we talked about the postures, Bansao, Tansao, Fuksao, right? And the structure of the posture on the upper body. And then in just the previous lesson, we talked about connecting the two quadrants, fancy word for the upper and lower body, right? We got the left, right, upper and lower, so that's where you get the quadrants from, right? So connecting that power from the ground and connecting it to the strength in the upper body postures. Now we want to talk about how do we get the strength and power from the ground and bring it out to the extremity. So I say extremity because it might not be the hand, right? It might be the elbow, might be the shoulder even, right? Might even be the head. Let's hope not, right? But to bringing the energy from the ground out to the extremity. So that way you're not just using your body weight to affect whatever you're trying to do out here. You're using your body connected to the ground, doing whatever you're trying to do out here. It's a huge difference. If you've ever felt the 1-inch punch, then you have a good idea of the difference between a standard body punch using leveraging and a punch delivered from 1 inch. You felt it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're not gonna do it.
We can't touch it. Yeah.
We just did the walls. We don't need to break the walls here, right? So, so I'm going to show you in this lesson how you can exercise and sort of, make that happen. Get the ground, get the energy from the ground, and bring it out to the fist, essentially, right? Which is a pretty cool thing to do. And it could be very esoteric to some, maybe to others it makes a lot of sense. But nonetheless, this method that I'm going to show you will get you there regardless. Right? So it's called the sandbag. Now, I got a stool and a chair and a couple sandbags and put them on top of each other. This is just a sandbag. You get nice and clean. Homogenized sand, put it in the canvas bag, doubled up canvas bag, tie it off, boom, there's your sandbag. You can go traveling with this. Empty the sand out, roll it up, put it in your back pocket. When you get to the next place, go get some nice sand, put it back in. This is your #1 training aid. Even if we're doing just like lifting, right? You do lifting with the aid of your bag. So there's so much you can do with this as a training aid. It's just nutty. I even use this as a dummy, as like like a punching bag, a heavy bag, a mini heavy bag on the ground. I even use this for. So if you don't have one of these in your, you oughta. Yeah. It's great. It's not like this big old Wing Chun where, man, you gotta have a place to set that up, right? So, but this is even more important in many ways, because this is where you're getting your conditioning from, not the Wing Chun. Wing Chun, you're getting your anger. We talked about that, right? So, we're going to get into our stance, Kimi Ma, okay, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to use what's called Jig Chang or Sao, the hand, just the Jig Chang, the closed hand, a fist, to come down and strike on the bag. Now, if you don't have this sort of setup, and you got maybe just a little sandbag, I think you can like even buy little sandbags.
Yeah, or cut the leg of small pants.
Yeah. And hey, if you don't have clean sand anywhere, you can use like rice, you use beans, stuff like that. Just don't use something that when it breaks, it's gonna, poke through and cut your hand or something. But yeah, and once the rice becomes powder, you can just put new rice in there. Okay, so you can just hold it and strike it. Yeah. Here I'm using the luxury of this chair. Yeah. Now we're not hitting this hard. It might in this room it might sound so. Try to hit it even lighter so they get the idea. Is we're not hitting this hard. You could hit it hard, depending on what you're trying to do. But for what we're trying to do and for the purpose of developing your ground and developing the ability to take the power from the ground and to the hand, to the fist, out to the bag. That's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to hit it really hard. We're trying to connect the ground to what we're striking. It's a totally different thing. We're not trying to hit it hard, because we could hit it really hard, right? But we're defeating the purpose. The purpose is the exercise is to get the ground, connect your whole body to it. You see, you can almost see the difference.
Yeah.
The efficiency. What happens is the slowness and efficiency turns into power. So it's funny, when I was just showing it this way, it's so much different than
hear it.
Yeah. And it's so much effortless. The more efficient way is more effortless, as opposed to this feels like I'm actually doing work. Hitting the sandbag. Now I'm not saying that's altogether wrong. What I'm introducing to you something is that's more sustainable. In other words, a lot of people hurt their hands when they get into doing this because they think that they have to hit hard, and then these bones in your fingers are just so small and fragile. It's silly. Boxers, they wrap their hands up almost like like a ceramic. What am I trying to say? Like a plaster of Paris or something. Yeah. I mean, they wrap those hands up and then put the padding on top of that. So they're not they're not messing their hands up so bad. Some of them still hurt their hands. Right. So understand that this is not, you're not so much conditioning your hands so they become callous like karate experts, where they get the big callous hand. It's all they can do is breaks with their hands. That's all they can do though. They can't use their fingers or anything, right? Yeah. So we're not trying to do that. It's an extreme exaggeration of that. But what we're trying to do is transfer the energy from our kinema, from our lower body posture, the ground, and then bring it to that. And see, I want to hesitate and say that looked like it was really hard. It wasn't. It was just efficient, right? I didn't feel any I feel more pressure just doing it slow and hard like that. I feel that in my hands as I do focusing on the ground, and bam, it's like I let the energy go, right? Yeah. As opposed to sharing the energy by, again, maybe not, that's not wrong necessarily. It's just not what I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to show you how to bring the energy from the ground out to your extremity, out to the hand in this particular case, right? And it can be out here too, right? Boom. Yeah. Nice and relaxed, and then like and really trying not to take the brunt of the blow, right? You're trying to like let go of that energy and let the sandbag take the burden of it. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, we're going to have a post up here, so we'll return to this particular exercise. If you're outside as well, where you have a place that you can hang these, you can actually hang this here, right? And practice as well, right? Or the post, we'll have a post, same thing, practice punching. The post is going to have different levels, so you can practice punching at different levels. But the main idea, still, no matter where the sandbag is that you're transferring the energy from the ground to a particular point. Yeah, and letting it go too. You're not punching and holding, you know. Right. There's a follow through. Now, here's the thing. Don't think that there's not a follow through. In other words, that in real life, this would be the person and that boom, you'd be punching. No, you would still be punching through them. You see, but with this different kind of intent, right? So, I don't know if I'm getting a little too complex in this concept theory in this class, but some of you might understand what I'm saying. Is, you know, right now the exercise has us, we're just getting the energy from the ground and bringing it out to a point. That's the exercise, literally, that's it. Not, that's the guy's face and bam, I snapped on it. No, because in real life you'd have to go through in order to be effective, right? In other words, I would be snapping, right? To back here is where I'd be snapping. I wouldn't be snapping, bam, because that would just throw you back, right? Yeah, I mean, you know, it might bust your mouth open and stuff, but that wouldn't be the same as like, right? No. Yeah, right. So, all right. I think I've covered this topic. If you have any questions, of course, leave them in the comments. And if you have any more, you know, if you want to know more, just go to sifuz.com and
It's subscribe.
So yeah, thank you.
Like.
Yeah, subscribe. We need at least 100 subscribers to get a URL. So subscribe and share and like and all that stuff. That will help us out a lot. And thank you to those of you that have subscribed, and welcome. And again, if you have any questions regarding the previous videos or this video, leave them in the comments and we'll typically address them in the following lesson. All right, guys, we'll see you next class.